At my wife's family barbecue, my wife's sister made a joke: if you disappeared tomorrow, no one would even notice. Everyone laughed except me. I just raised my hot dog and said, "Challenge accepted." I moved out that night, cut contact, and vanished. A year later, there. My name's Martin. I was already standing at the edge and considering leaving my marriage long before everything finally fell apart. For a while, I had been living in a marriage that felt more like a slow fade than a shared life. But I knew it was time to go during the family barbecue where I was laughed at. That night, after everyone had left and the house was quiet, I disappeared. My wife Julie and I were married for just over 8 years. In the beginning, we were like most couples, but deeply connected. We had plans. We didn't just want a house. We wanted a home. That was the dream we signed up for. And for a while, we chased it together. But somewhere around year 5, things started to shift. It wasn't sudden, and that's what made it harder to notice. The turning point came when we started trying for kids. We wanted them badly, both of us. But when months turned to years with no success, we turned to fertility clinics, appointments, injections, tests, and schedules. We tried everything they told us to try. Every month was a new hope, and every month ended with a silent disappointment that filled the room like smoke. I saw what it did to Julie. She became quieter and withdrawn. At first, I thought it was just stress. We were both hurting. But somewhere along the line, she stopped trying altogether. Not just with the treatments, but with me. She gave up on the dream. I think when it became too painful to hold on to, she just let it go completely. And with that, it felt like she let go of our marriage, too. The affection that once came easily faded, and in its place was this cold, polite distance. We still lived in the same house, slept in the same bed, ate at the same table, but it felt like I was living with a stranger, and the silence between us grew heavier every day. What hurt the most was that she didn't seem to notice or care. She had shut down emotionally. I told myself that love meant holding on, even when the other person let go. So, about a year and some months before everything finally broke down between me and Julie, her sister showed up at her door. She had just gone through a nasty split with her husband. I'm talking full-blown shouting matches, cheating allegations, and even police being called to their house a few times. It was a mess, and understandably, she needed a break. Julie came to me asking if her sister could crash with us for a few days, just until she figured things out. Of course, I said yes. It was the decent thing to do. She had 2 little kids who didn't ask for any of this. So, they came in with a few bags and what looked like an overnight plan, but a few days quickly started to stretch. I figured maybe she needed a couple of extra days to sort out her next move. But then those days became a couple of weeks. She didn't talk about finding a job or getting her own place or even going back to the town she left. Her stuff started taking over our guest room. The kids' toys were everywhere. Living room, kitchen, even our bedroom at times. Their clothes were mixed in with our laundry. Still, I kept quiet. But then a couple of weeks turned into a month. Then, 2. Then, before I knew it, we were deep into the 3rd month, and she was still in the house. I had an entire other family living under my roof, and no one seemed to think it was a problem except me. My wife's sister was loud and sarcastic, always had something slick to say, and the kids were full-on chaos. There was no discipline, no respect for